Cloud deployment models and cloud computing platforms. A company that adopts cloud technologies and/or selects cloud service providers, CSPs, and services or applications without first thoroughly understanding the hazards associated exposes itself to a slew of commercial, economic, technological, regulatory, and compliance hazards. Service models. Hazards of application deployment on clouds. At a high level, cloud environments face the same hazards as traditional data center settings. The threat landscape is the same. That is, deployment in cloud computing runs software, and software contains weaknesses that attackers aim to exploit. When leveraging external cloud services, the CSP assumes responsibility for some rules and infrastructure in cloud deployment. CSPs make it very simple to add cloud deployment models in cloud computing. The cloud's on-demand self-service provisioning features enable an organization's people to deploy extra services from the agency's CSP without requiring IT approval. Customers employ application programming interfaces, APIs, exposed by CSPs to control and interact with cloud services, also known as the management plane. These APIs are used by businesses to provide, manage, choreograph, and monitor their assets and people. CSP APIs, unlike management APIs for on-premises computing, are available through the Internet, making them more vulnerable to manipulation. Exploiting system and software vulnerabilities in a CSP's infrastructure, platforms, or applications that allow multi-tenancy might fail to keep tenants separate. An attacker can use this failure to obtain access from one organization's resource to another user's or organization's assets or data. Data deletion threats emerge because consumers have little insight into where their data is physically housed in the cloud and a limited capacity to verify the secure erasure of their data. If an attacker acquires access to a user's cloud credentials, the attacker can utilize the CSP services such as deployment in cloud computing to provide new resources, if the credentials allow provisioning, and target the organization's assets. An attacker who obtains a CSP administrator's cloud credentials may be able to use them to gain access to the agency's systems and data. When a company contemplates shifting its deployment in cloud computing from one CSP to another, vendor lock-in becomes a concern. To manage, integrate, and operate in cloud deployment models in cloud computing, the agency's existing IT employees may need to learn a new paradigm. In addition to their present duties for on-premises IT employees must have the ability and skill level to manage, integrate, and sustain the transfer of assets and data to the cloud. It is critical to note that CSPs employ a shared responsibility security approach. Some features of security are accepted by the CSP. Other security concerns are shared by the CSP and the consumer. Effective cloud deployment models in cloud computing and cloud security are dependent on understanding and fulfilling all customs duties. The inability of consumers to understand or satisfy their duties is a major source of security issues in cloud deployment.